I can actually see you holding it to the left of the screen. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's me holding the barrel of that shotgun.
Explain to us real quick a body-worn camera. Where is that located, and where are these images coming from?
I generally put it right here on my chest, dead center of my chest.
And how is it activated? How is it turned off? Can you explain that to the jury a little bit as well?
So most of these cameras are activated in the patrol vehicles that deputies on patrol have. They're activated whenever you activate your blue lights. So as soon as I turn my blue lights on, it activates my dash camera as well as my body-worn camera.
And then how do you ultimately turn it off?
It's got a button on the front of it that you can press. If it did not originally activate it, you would press that button to turn it on, to start the recording, and then whenever you're done recording, you press that same button to stop the recording.
In this particular instance, how did it get activated? Was it when you turned on your blue lights to run code to the scene?
That's correct. It was activated with my blue lights.
And I've used the term run code. Do you know what that means?
Yes.
And can you explain that to the jury, please?
Sure. Running code is just whenever you turn your lights on as well as your siren to get wherever you need to get fast.
When you're moving quickly to respond to an emergency situation.
That's correct.
653 outside. Go ahead, sir. Well, I've already spoken with Captain Deal.
Right there, you laid the shotgun inside your vehicle, is that correct?
That's correct. I laid it in front of the passenger seat in the front.
Did it remain there until it was turned over to SLED?
It did.
Go ahead, sir.
To the left of the screen, again, that's where the Paul was, is that correct?
That's correct. That's Paul laying on the ground.
And is that where you saw the water that you described earlier?
It is.
Well, I've already spoken with Captain Deal. He's got crime scene in contact with them. He's also going to give us the assistance of a couple of field agents. Roger that. No, they now.
They are dead, aren't they?
I just turn on those.
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
Randy. All the dead. Where are you now?
What is Mr. Murdaugh doing at this particular time?
He's on the phone pacing around talking to someone. I'm not sure who he was talking to at that point.
Did he ask you to confirm if they were dead?
He did. He asked multiple times while I was on scene.
Did you ever see him, any tears, any physical tears?
I did not.
Did you ever see him approach the bodies?
I did not see him approach them, no.
Did you observe any visible blood on him?
There was no blood on him that I could see.
The bodies, as you saw them, was there a lot of blood around them given the injuries they had suffered?
Yes, there was a pool of blood around each of the bodies that extended out from the body.
All right. Yeah, the police are here now. The police are here now. That's my brother.
Okay. When was the last time you were here with them, or talked to them, or anything like that?
It was earlier tonight. I don't know the exact time, but
Okay.
I left. I was probably gone an hour and a half from my mom's, and I saw them about 45 minutes before that.
Okay.
I rode around with Paul for 2 hours this afternoon in the pickup truck.
That's your son, Paul? Okay.
Somebody going to check him?
Yes, sir. They've already checked them.
They did check him?
Yes, sir.
It's official that they're dead?
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
When you observed these victims, was it obvious that they had injuries incompatible with life?
Yes, any reasonable person that came upon those bodies would have come to a conclusion that they were deceased.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'm very sorry. Can I call her parents?
What's her name?
Her name's Maggie Murdaugh. Margaret Brandstetter Murdaugh. How you doing?
What's her birthday?
Pause it right there. What did the defendant just say? Let me back it up.
Margaret Branstetter Murdaugh. How you doing?
What did the defendant say right there?
So while I'm in the process of gathering information about the two victims from Mr. Murdaugh, somebody walks by behind me, and he pauses what he's telling me to say, "Hey, how you doing?"
How you doing?
Yeah.
And who was that he said that to?
I'm not 100% certain. I believe it was a fire rescue individual.
What's her birthday?
9/15/68.
Okay, and what's your son's first name? You said Paul?
Paul Terry Murdaugh.
And what's his birthday?
Jason, if you have anybody
4.
coming through town, if you can stop and pick up that tent, I see lights off in the distance.
What are they covering him up?
I got some getting dressed now, Sheriff. I'll have somebody stop and grab it.
Tell them they don't have to do that. They don't need to. Preserve what we can.
653. Where's it at? I'm in town.
I should try to be Delta 8 because he's going to be the only one that's got access.
What's
to
Paul's
where it is
birthday?
right now.
Got me.
April 14th, 1999, sir.
Put it up as wide as you can. That's fine. You said 99?
Sir?
He was born in 99?
He was born April 14th, 1999.
Okay. What's your first name, sir?
My name is Alex Richard Alexander Murdaugh.
Let me ask you this. In your interactions with Mr. Murdaugh, was he able to understand your questions and respond appropriately to what you were asking?
Yes.
Was he catatonic in any way?
No. He was able to answer all the questions that I asked him.
Was he panicking in any way?
He seemed upset, but I wouldn't say panicky.
Did you notice any labored breathing or anything like that from Mr. Murdaugh?
Yeah, he was breathing heavily. Never once did he complain about not being able to breathe. I mean, there were fire rescue guys out there. He didn't ask for any kind of medical attention or anything like that due to not being able to breathe.
Richard Alexander Murdaugh?
You familiar with the location?
No.
Sure.
Hey,
Be affirmative.
Cody,
Just what I'm thinking
come around the
about
truck
before.
and then go to the building. Come around the truck and then...
There's a set of prints off behind the trailer there.
Yes.
I don't know if it's from
What's that?
ours or not. There's a set of footprints behind the trailer there too.
Who's that individual right there?
I'm not sure of his name. I just know that he works for Carlton County Fire Rescue. Carlton County Fire Rescue.
That's why we kind of stepped out there and just over here, so we step over you.
It's about 3, 4, 3. There's 8 going to be the last one in and grabbing the tent.
In the background in the center of the screen, it looks like somebody's doing something with some yellow tape. Can you explain what that is to the jury, please?
That's correct. That's Deputy Pruitt, one of the deputies that I supervise. I instructed him to put up crime scene tape to include that vehicle. We put up crime scene tape to try to keep people out of the immediate crime scene area, preserve any possible evidence that's there.
At this point in time, did you notice any evidence of firearms such as casings or spent shells or anything like that?
Yeah, as I was walking through, you can't necessarily see it on my body camera, but as I was walking through, I could see shell casings, particularly around Maggie's body.
All right. And a shell casing, would they be for like a rifle round or a pistol round?
They
or-
appear to be rifle rounds.
And could you tell just from walking by what type of ammunition at that point in time?
I couldn't tell what type. I could tell that they appear to be rifle, and that's about it.
And again, you weren't stopping to collect those. You were managing the scene as you described before.
That's
so-
correct.
Just go over to that corner of the building.
I'm almost to you. Let me see what we have first and whether or not we're going to handle that part or not.
What are you shining your light on right there?
So there in the background behind where Mr. Murdaugh is standing, you can see several sets of tire tracks The grass was really wet that night, so those tracks appeared to be really fresh. So it caught my eye.
All right. And why did it catch your eye?
It just seemed odd that it appeared to be that many sets of tire tracks since he said he pulled up, went to the house, and came back. It just appeared that there were more than just that.
It appeared that there were more tracks than just that.
That's correct.
I see quite a few tire tracks in here. Were any of these you going in and out?
No, I came in here and I left one time and I came back.
Okay.
The rest of them, maybe
Okay.
from earlier, but
Okay.
only 2 are mine.
Did you go out this way at all?
No.
Village, right?
Hey, stay here. Got a whole bunch of stuff right there. I don't want to disturb.
I know that after I trying to get the door here so we can kind of get around that way.
Your best way is probably going to be back through those rocks because we can't get any tracks off those rocks anymore.
No, we'll go back around the other way we just came.
Okay. Thank you.
Peace, man.
Yep. Do you have names or anything for them?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get that in a little bit. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Whose vehicle are you approaching right now?
That was the vehicle that Mr. Murdaugh said that he had approached that scene in.
Was that a black Suburban, to your recollection?
It is.
What unit's 23 on those up? I'm 7 unit on scene. Are you behind the house?
There's several of us out here. There's
Right there, that would be Maggie's body right in front of that shed. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's covered up by a sheet at this point.
a long dirt driveway right next to the mailbox says 4147, and you'll see all our lights down here at this shed thing.
You ain't come through Brick Hollow.
Negative.
Delta 89 on duty, going out to Moselle.
Who was that standing way off in the distance there?
That would be Mr. Murdaugh.
Where did he spend the majority of his time while you were there after your initial interaction with him?
From this point on, his general time was spent in that area where he's currently standing.
Pretty far away from the scene?
That's correct.
Delta 8, 653. Telephone City.
What was occurring right there? With
See
the
what
other
was
deputy?
occurring right there?
Yeah.
So both of those deputies, or Deputy Pruitt would be on the left and Deputy McDowell would be on the right. Deputy McDowell was taking small pieces of crime scene tape and just setting them by shell casings, I believe. As road patrol officers, we don't generally have those little placards that you'll a lot of times see in crime scene photos. But to prevent somebody from accidentally stepping on them due to it being so dark out there, we tend to take something small like a piece of paper, a piece of crime scene tape, set it next to it just to indicate it a little bit better.
Again, part of the job of a first responder to sort of protect the scene until the crime scene investigators get there.
That's correct.
Both these individuals, were you supervising them that night?
I was, yes.
Yeah.
Looking at this perspective right here, to the left of the screen is whose body?
To the left right there in the forefront would be Maggie, and in the further back you can also see where Paul is laying.
Okay. Was Paul next to or in the kennel area?
Yes.
I think his brother. He said he was calling somebody. He said he was calling somebody. Yeah, sure he was. There's a couple of shell casings right there.
Yeah, those will be easy to find. I was just marking a couple that were in the gravel. It might be harder to see at some point. Y'all familiar with this family? Yes.
I wasn't until he told me the names. Last name Murdaugh.
Did you know this family prior to this?
I did not.
I don't think there's gonna be anything for
What's that?
me. Did I tell you?
You said for Evo to do?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Hey.
Who was Evo?
Evo would be Deputy McDowell's K-9.
Hey, watch your step. Huh? There. Okay.
Who is that approaching right now?
That would be my immediate supervisor at the time, Lieutenant Lonnie Nettles.
The gentleman in the white shirt is the husband of her, the father of him. That is Paul Murdaugh. This is his mother. Paul Murdaugh was that guy in the boating accident from a while back, if you remember.
Yeah.
Just then, were you describing the boat wreck?
Yes, it had been in local news previously, so.
And it was your understanding that Paul was involved in that?
In some way, I had no idea about the actual details of the case to know what his involvement was, honestly.
Most likely. He did have a firearm whenever I pulled up. It's a shotgun. It's been secured in my vehicle.
It's 300 blackout.
When you get a chance, can you give dispatch a phone call?
You will have to give me just a few minutes, but yes, I will.
That dispatch call, was that related to the case in any way?
I don't believe it was. I don't remember what that phone call ended up being about. As a supervisor, if a lot of us are tied up at one time, they will tend to give me a phone call to let me know that a certain call is pending or something else is going on. Just to help keep the radio traffic free, they'll call me on my cell phone instead.
Did your entire squad respond to this particular call, or did somebody?
There was one deputy that remained in service.
Okay. Did not respond here, but remained on the road.
Correct.
653.
Who can start a log?
653.
Who's the most expendable that can start a log? Let's put it that way.
This is. Can you start a crime scene log, please?
A log started. Sleds on the way. Let's push.
Here's the right
Can we run the tape
2007 Birdie
there to there?
Yeah.
Yes.
from that last hole right there to that last
Get a
hole?
piece of paper, start writing names and times. You don't have any kind of paper?
Who's that individual right there in the center of the screen?
That
To the
would be
right?
Detective to the right.
Yes.
That would be Deputy Pruitt.
And what did you just ask him to do?
Start a crime scene log.
And tell the jury what that is, please.
Sure. So a crime scene log is established as soon as additional people start to arrive on scene. We document exactly who comes into the actual crime scene, as well as the exact time that they come into the crime scene.
Here, borrow that.
We can push it from that hole to that hole.
Yep. Sure. I do see some That look old or fresh? Old, yes.
What are we doing right here with the tape?
So I'm securing it to the corner of that part of the shed to run it along to a shed on the opposite side of that area. We just expanded the crime scene out a little bit further.
To protect a larger area?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You don't need to speak more directly into the mic, or can you increase the volume, Madam Clerk, of that mic? Just a little.
This one that's working?
I'm referring to the witness.
Oh, sorry.
Increase his volume, or all right, thank you, Person.
Yes, sir. I usually don't have a problem being too quiet, but speak up for us if you would, please. All right, so you're securing the crime scene tape. Let's proceed.
I'll just hold the light for you. Go all the way to that post. Marty, let's just keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, I think we got it.
This is 5-3, all the responding units to Moselle Road, stop at the road. No one else come down the dirt road. Stop at the road.
That's 027, probably doing that 66 on 95. Copy.
What's the other way in here?
From back that way, I guess. Where the house is, I guess.
Okay, that must be.
You referring to the Whiskey Mike? Last you walk with a key? Affirmative.
We've heard on this video the term Whiskey Mike. Can you tell me what that term refers to?
Yeah, when we say whiskey Mike, we're referring to a white male. A whiskey fox or a whiskey foxtrot would be a white female.
And in the context of this particular scene, who's the Whiskey Mike and who's the Whiskey Fox or Whiskey Foxtrot?
As I was approaching, you could hear me say to dispatch to my radio that there was a whiskey Mike, the whiskey Mike referring to Paul, whiskey fox referring to Maggie.
Do we have anything else? Negative. Copy.
To the very right of the screen, well, strike that. I'll wait.
Correct.
I have a notepad, it's just I'm
Yes.
using the back side of all the paper, so all the front side of the paper has names and information on it.
Well, you can borrow mine for a minute. It's perfectly fine, Cody.
Take a minute. I just didn't want you to be like, we're doing fucking paper now. I have paper for calls.
Do you not have any crime scene log sheets? Hey, it's 717. I was asked to give you guys a call.
Have it in your list.
Hi. Okay. Okay. I will inquire and I'll get back to you. Okay.
Want us to close it in?
Yeah.
That's all right, I'm gonna grab.
There, do you recognize those individuals?
I do.
Can you tell us who they are?
On the far left would be Detective Tyndall. In the forefront toward the center would be Captain Chapman. And on the other side of him, in the lighter colored shirt with the black vest, was Barry McCroy, worked for Fire Rescue.
Okay. Did the sheriff respond to this particular incident, to your recollection?
Yes, he did.
But as far as who was the senior officer actually working the scene, at this point in time until SLED arrives, who was it at this point?
That would be Captain Chapman.
Captain Chapman?
That's correct.
That's all right, I'm gonna grab a couple.
Well, I got some right here, Judge.
Hey, you want us to close that in?
Was that?
You want us to close it in?
Yeah.
There's a guy, I don't know if you want to let the other guy know, whoever Eric is, I guess the caller. There's a guy over here that's wanting to talk to him. But I told you what he's
Don't even know who Eric is. I know an Alex over there.
Alex.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a guy over here that wants to talk to him.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you wanted me to tell him that or if you wanted me to just chill for a minute. Or if you wanted me to escort him over.
He does not need to walk over there.
No, I mean up a long way.
He does not need to go over there.
So you can stay there then.
He can't.
Let me ask you this. Before you had referred to a brother arriving, is that correct?
Yes.
And was that a brother? Was he allowed to talk to Alec and go over to Alec?
I believe he did. I don't recall. I never actually interacted with him at all.
And then this discussion right here with Deputy Pruitt, what was going on right there?
So there was someone that had arrived on scene and wanted to go and speak with Mr. Murdaugh. I told him to just wait a minute on allowing him over there so we could determine the best way to allow them to talk, simply because the crime scene was so large and we did not want to contaminate anything that didn't need to be.
Okay. To your knowledge, was that individual, whoever it was, allowed to interact with Mr. Murdaugh?
I believe so. He was eventually, yes.
People that arrived were allowed to go see Mr. Murdaugh, is that correct?
That's correct.
He was not in custody at any time, is that correct?
No.
I don't have the caller and the caller's brother's name in here because I don't know their names yet, but I can get it. But I didn't.
I already wrote it in there.
All right. I don't know where you were at. I just found the first empty page I can find.
Female victim, male caller.
And then the other guy, though, I mean, he hasn't came inside the tape
Then
yet.
don't have to worry about him. Just make sure you get the here.
So me and you and all of us got here.
Oh my God.
Is that what you're about to say?
Yes.
What are you doing on the computer right here? Do you recall?
Yeah, so on those computers that are mounted in our patrol vehicles, we can see details of the call for service or other calls for service. In this case, I was looking at the information for the incident on Moselle to determine what units had been dispatched, what units arrived, and when they arrived, due to Deputy Pruitt trying to establish the crime scene log.
And you use the term call for service, which is a police term, but that essentially means responding to any emergency or
Any type of call. Any citizen that would call our dispatch center to request law enforcement assistance or fire rescue assistance, it's called, we just refer to it as a call for service.
I came on scene at 22:26.
22:26?
Yes.
Now, you say you came on scene at 22:26.
That's correct.
For those of us who don't know military time, can you tell us what that is?
That would be 10:26 p.m.
And that's June 7th, 2021.
That's correct.
And whoever U21 is with Fire Rescue, just write U21, Fire Rescue U21. And then
That was the same time as you?
he came on scene, yeah, same time as me, it's fine. Medic 18 at 22:27.
Had it started to rain more at this point?
Yeah, it had started raining at this point, yes.
.758 on scene 22:30. Same time as you. .653 on scene at 22:39.
22:39?
Yep.
Those numbers that you're referring to, what do those represent?
So the numbers would be the badge numbers of individuals arriving on scene.
You're just recording when various people arrived in the computer?
They're recorded in the computer, so when we arrive on scene, we let dispatch know our number and that we're on scene. They log it into the computer, and then we can then put it on our crime scene log.
That's all I have as far as times on this goes.
There's 787 Central. Alright. Copy. When you're clear, I have a call on Majestic of a suspicious vehicle. Copy. Where's that located? 223 Majestic Oak, wait in Cottage. 10-4. There's a Cottesville unit that can assist, that'd be great.
Pretty sure Majestic Oaks is their jurisdiction anyway.
Central 505, I believe that's in our jurisdiction anyway, I'll take care of that.
Copy.
Twenty-three Majestic Oak.
Stand by, I'm trying to get it.
That individual walking off to the left of the screen, who was that?
The one walking away from the screen or that just approached?
Walking away.
That was Deputy McDowell.
All right, and then the center of the screen, who was that?
The one that just walked up and is in center screen now would be Captain Krause.
All right, and then next to him, facing the body camera?
That would be Captain Chapman.
All right, and then to the far right.
Detective Tyndall.
Green Trailblazer. Correction. It's unknown what type of vehicle she had.
Were there dogs in those kennels, to your recollection?
There were a couple of dogs. I don't remember the exact number, but I do remember seeing some.
And the Green Trailblazer in her yard that belongs to her. She says she can only see the tail lights of the vehicle. She is also threatening to use them to jump off the street. It happened about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, I'm in there, you can, so let's put the field down box with.
Copy.
Yes, sir. We're going to discuss it later and find out.
Okay, just I'll make sure I didn't miss something.
Nope.
That discussion right there, did that have anything to do with the crime scene or anything like that?
No, it was not related at all.
What did you just put on your hands then?
Those would be latex gloves.
And the gloves you put on that you described earlier to the jury, what were those gloves?
Those are more tactical gloves. They're not necessarily ideal for handling any kind of evidence, but due to me already being out there next to the shotgun, I did not have any latex gloves on my person, so I used what was available.
And why are you putting on latex gloves right now?
They were wanting to look under the sheet where Paul was, so just to prevent any kind of contamination of any possible evidence at all, we would just always put gloves on.
Well, the dad's over there. Actually, hold on. Some people just won't do it.
Fire rescue might have some more sheets we can steal.
That's right, it shouldn't be about 5 to the law enforcement.
There is law enforcement back there.
Laying on the ground. Something like that. I don't think you're gonna fit a damn 300 blackout under there.
Not unless it's the shortest 300 blackouts ever been made. I don't think he put that phone back.
What is that discussion about right there?
So the whole purpose for even trying to look up under him was to determine if there was an additional firearm on scene already, possibly under Paul. There was 300 blackout casings found near Maggie. They were trying to determine if there was possibly a 300 blackout rifle under Paul.
And were y'all concerned that there may be one under Paul?
We just trying to rule it out as a possibility.
And what was that possibility then?
That he could have shot Maggie,
And then did what?
shot himself.
So you're looking to see if there's a gun underneath if he had shot himself and then fallen on top of it.
That's correct.
I haven't asked the dad about the phone, but dad did say he came over and checked the pulses.
Did you see a phone near Paul when you arrived on the scene?
Yes, there was a phone laying on top of him near his back pockets of his shorts.
I'm gonna back it up just a little bit. Is that it right down there at the bottom?
That's it.
I don't think you're gonna fit a damn 300 blackout under there.
Not unless it's the shortest 300 blackouts ever been made.
I don't think he put that phone back. I haven't asked the dad about the phone, but dad did say he came over and checked the pulses. Beyond that, I don't know what else they may have done.
He had a shotgun.
He did have a shotgun with him, and I have secured that in my vehicle.
Yeah, but it's an upward shot. This is one over the ceiling. One on a lot of money. Yeah, but that's because he took his head off. So that was done. I think I give you a good shot right there.
Do that right now.
Yep. So I've got multiple gunshots out of that window too.
Do we see a shell?
At least 3.
A shell.
Got it.
Right to the left of the screen, there appears to be, what does that appear to be to the very left of the screen?
There's some dog crates over there. On top of one of the dog crates is actually a dead chicken.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
A dead chicken
Okay.
on the far left-hand side of the screen.
Did you, Your Honor, with your permission, could you step down to the screen and point what you're talking about to the jury?
Okay.
It's difficult to see, but right here on top of that small dog crate was what appeared to be a dead chicken. I'm sure it could be dead. I couldn't see it. Could you
Do it again, please.
this area right here? Right. Thank you.
Yes.
You need in and out times or just times to ride? It's like if they exit multiple times and come back in.
You don't need to keep doing all that.
Okay. I wanted to make sure before.
Yeah.
Is that it? That's your lights on right there?
That's correct. That's when I was really noticing the chicken.
Just so you know, I've got at least 5 holes in the window in the back of that shed where rounds were exiting out the back that way.
Which is going to be shot because of the wide number there. And he was carrying a shotgun when we got
It is currently in my vehicle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's stand for a moment. All right, we'll be seated. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's the extent of the video that state will publish at this time, Your Honor. Let me ask you a few other questions if I could. Sergeant Greene. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit number 5 to your testimony and see if you recognize this image.
Yes, sir. That would be an image from my body camera when I was looking at the tire tracks in the grass.
Have the input back to the Elmo, please. Your Honor, this time I would move to admit State's Exhibit 5, I believe, without objection.
Any objection to State's Exhibit number 5? Submitted without objection.
Publish it, Your Honor.
Yes. Publish any exhibit That has been admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, it doesn't show up on the screen that great, but who is that person in the image right there?
That would be Mr. Murdaugh.
All right, and then just kind of in this area, it's more clear on the video, but that would be the tire
Yeah.
tracks you described earlier?
Yes, where I'm shining my flashlight at that point is where the tire tracks were.
We cut the video off after playing sort of the relevant parts, but what did you do for the remainder of this scene as the evening continued?
So the remaining part of my role would have just been making sure the crime scene stayed secure, people stayed out of where they weren't supposed to be. Investigators were handling the remainder of the investigation.
Did eventually anyone from the SLED, the State Law Enforcement Division, show up?
They did. I don't believe that would have been captured on my body camera, but they did, yes.
At some point, did you like to turn your body camera off?
I did. I cleared it with my supervisor, Captain Kraus, to ensure that I would not be needed for any additional investigative purposes, talking to Mr. Murdaugh, or handling any additional evidence. And once that was okayed, I turned it off.
And so that was consistent with standard police procedures and practices and when to turn the body camera off?
That's correct.
You just didn't decide to do it willy-nilly or anything?
That's correct.
At what point, just roughly, do you remember, did you clear the scene or leave the scene?
I don't think I left the scene until several hours later.
Were you still there when SLED crime scene arrived?
Yes.
Did you remain the entire time they were there, or did you leave at some point?
I would have left prior to the end of my shift. I couldn't tell you the exact time that it was, but they were multiple units, including SLED and Carleton County investigators, still on scene when I left.